Hi, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Gail, and welcome to Women Over 70 Aging Reimagined, our weekly online podcast. Visit womenover70.com to learn about how you may become involved and join Aging Reimagined Circle at womenover70.com and enjoy free participation in our online monthly programs. Thank you for listening.
And today we're very happy to be talking with Anna Rappaport, age 85. She's a retired actuary who is actively engaged in her profession through the Society of Actuaries Aging and Retirement Strategic Research Initiative. Anna is an active volunteer, serves as an advisor on many projects, and also as a contracted researcher on other projects. She's been working for more than 25 years to build relationships between the actuarial community and other retirement professions. She continues to write for many publications that deal with benefits and retirement issues. Anna serves as chairperson of the Society of Actuaries Committee on Post-Retirement Needs and Risks, and she's the board of WISER, the Women's Institute for a Secure Retirement. During the period from the early 2000s to the present, Anna shifted from being married and a snowbird going on cruises and enjoying retirement to being a caregiver and a widow. She reports that moving to the Admiral at the Lake, a life care community in Chicago, has been one of the best decisions ever made. Anna is also an artist, recently interested in urban sketching. So welcome, Anna, to Women Over 70. We're really happy to have you with us. I want to mention that Laura McKee is a board member of the Admiral at the Lake, and she referred us to you when we met her at the American Society of Aging Conference recently in Florida.
Thank you, Catherine and Gail. And as you were describing the program, I thought you were describing the residents of the Admiral, because there are so many women here who have reimagined their lives or who are active, one doing theater productions, several of us who are artists, a number of people who are active in the community in food banks, some who are concerned with immigrants and have helped immigrant families, some who are reading to third graders and from a local school and teaching them art. The Admiral is full of people that meet your definition. And why I'm so happy at the Admiral is partly because those are the people that are here.
You know, you wrote a piece for Retirement Section News back in April of 2025. It was titled, "What I Have Learned from My Experiences." And you noted that around age 75, you wondered if you were still relevant. So how's that going? How do you know if you're still relevant, and what are you doing to make sure that you are?
Well, that's a great question, because at 75, I've been doing all this work. I've been writing probably 20, 25 pieces a year for different publications, more some years. And I was starting to think, does anybody care? Am I just doing this because it's my vanity? And then I got a Lifetime Service Award from an employee benefit organization, one that was their basic audience was plan sponsors, not actuaries. So that said, wow, for me, that was a wow. Your work is appreciated not just by your own colleagues, but by the people that we want to use the work. Because after all, for all of us, doing work that's just for ourselves is not so good. It's doing work for those other stakeholders that really counts. Since then, I've won basically four more Lifetime Service Awards. I won the most recent award just last year. Our organization set up awards for Trailblazers in Actuarial Science women, and I was happy to be one of the first group selected. So I'm still here and busier than ever. The shift that occurred for me is as you heard, I was retired and happy. My husband got progressively disabled. The last 5 years or so of his life, he was virtually homebound. And I was hiring caregivers, and people were saying, "Oh, you don't have to keep doing this professional work." I was like, that's okay. This is what I want to do. So I was hiring caregivers and balancing my time, and I had this big juggling act. I'd do a little professional work, I'd spend time with him, do a little professional work. I try to take care of myself. And by the time I was pretty worn out and barely managing by the time he died in 2021, just about 4 years ago now. And I quickly was able to make the shift from looking backwards to looking forward, or not so much looking forward, surviving and finding a new life. And I actually didn't have any thoughts about moving to the Admiral. And he died in Florida. It was during the pandemic. And my big question, people were like, well, stay in Florida. You have a house here. And the community is wonderful and the people were wonderful. But I came back up to Chicago to decide, am I going to be a snowbird? So, and I was like, oh, I'm back to Chicago. I have to go back to Chicago. It's a great community, lots of theater. Yesterday, I went to see one of the most fantastic dance performances, and I'm doing more of that now that I've improved my mobility. I go to see those performances. I go to the symphony. I'm very active in urban sketchers also. So now I'm doing, in the last year or so, much more than I was before. I've got these projects that I'm working on. And besides the projects I'm working on, I'm doing a lot of art. I had an exhibit last year, which was like a lifetime retrospective of my painting. Went back my art to about the 60s, so it wasn't totally lifetime.
Let me just catch up with you about your painting, because urban sketchers is it, but you've been painting. You had an exhibit back in your work going all the way back to the 1960s. And have you always been doing urban sketching, or is this? Tell us what that is.
Okay, that's a great question. The answer is yes, but I didn't know the label. The urban sketching movement is a movement started by Gabby Campanero from the Pacific Northwest in the United States. And it's actually it's a Facebook-enabled movement. He decided about 12 or 15 years ago that he wanted to go out and draw out in a park, in a city, if it was a cold, nasty day, in a coffee shop. And he wanted other people to go with him. And he used Facebook to recruit people. Well, Gabby Campanero and his 2 or 3 friends has exploded into, I think it's 150,000 or 200,000 people worldwide. And there are chapters in almost every city. So what the group is, and Chicago is a magnificent chapter, is one of the best, which is one of the reasons I came back here. It's a way to say to people that are interested in drawing, we're going to have a meetup at the Riverwalk in Chicago, and we're meeting at this place at this time. If you want to come draw with us. And Chicago has, for example, every year now a weekend seminar that's known practically all over the world, where you can go for 3 days, or 2.5 days, and you can go and draw with other people. You have workshops, you have instructors, and there are a bunch of principles. And they basically say it's about sharing our work with each other and helping each other, that's what everything that's about sharing what we're doing and helping each other is good. It's just like your podcast. Yeah. So I've become very active in that group, and I've done some teaching for them. I go all the time. I'm just now picking out what I'm going to put in a show for them. So that's urban sketching. The reason I say I didn't know what it was, I have some sketches that go back into the 60s where I was doing plein air painting, and some of the original art watercolor classes I took, we went out on location and we drew. And I'd say the big difference between just going out on location and drawing and painting, which is plein air painting, and they certainly overlap, is the plein air painter is usually making a pretty finished painting, or often is, and it's more of a project. The sketcher is doing the same thing, but they may very well be doing it in a sketchbook, or they may not, and they may be doing very quick sketches. But the urban sketching movement is really about bringing people together. To be an urban sketch to qualify, also you need to be present. It needs to be something that you drew because you were there, versus if I go to a coffee shop and take a picture of the photograph and go home and draw, it's not urban sketching. If I draw it in the coffee shop, I can go home and finish it. But if I do the basic drawing myself while I'm there, it's urban sketching. It also needs to be, if I just draw my coffee, that doesn't count. If I draw my coffee and a little sign on the wall that says coffee shop, coffee $2, it's urban sketching. So that's basically what urban sketching is about. And I love it.
It's fascinating. Fascinating. And then you were going on to talk a little bit about projects that you're involved in, things you're involved in now that you're really enjoying at this point.
Well, the most exciting project I did last year, I've been doing retirement planning work for a long time in the Society of Actuaries work, and we've basically done work that we call at all times of retirement. We've done research with people near retirement and retirees, and then we did some research with recent retirees, retired 15 years or more, over age 85. What else? But I'm now doing work with seniors who are close to being at the limitations to quite to limited stage, to try to help them remember that if you have all your documents in place and you have a plan, and it's a great plan, people are like, oh, I got that done. And I correct them and I say, no. You got it done the first time, you need to update it. And so many people forget to update it. And we made a checklist workbook with sections in it for, first of all, seeing that your passions are updated and you still have passions. That's a critical part of it. Then that you're taking care of your health. And our workbook checklist doesn't ask you about whether you have high blood pressure. It says, do you have a primary care physician? Did you see them and are you following their advice? It asks them about drugs. Do you know what your drugs are? Do you keep your prescriptions up to date? Do you have a way to control how do you keep them? Do you need help? So it's that level of questions. So we have finances, legal issues, all of your documents, support system. Do you have a support system in place? I've been very involved also with the solo ager issue. And for so many women, even if they don't start out as solos, they become solos pretty quickly.
Can you say more about that? Because that is a topic that's of great interest to many of our listeners.
Oh, for sure. Well, a solo ager, our thinking about a solo ager is someone who is alone, and alone in the sense of, I don't have somebody to help me. There are a lot of people, they don't have a spouse, they don't have children, they may not have a niece or nephew that will help them. They may have a close friend, they may not. So these are people that are really alone, and they need to find a support system. And there's a major trap for solo agers. Solo agers who are very competent people, often they were great business people or great whatever career they had, and they did really well. But when they become older, then if they start to have memory issues, which many people do, or other issues, they aren't prepared to have that support system in place because they thought, I can do this. Here I am. I can do this. I'm good. Well, you were good. You can do this, but you're starting to have dementia. And the living at the Admiral is a real. You get real lessons. We've done quite a bit of work within the Society of Actuaries. We have some reports on this. When you go in the dining room and you sit with somebody who complains that their dessert is wrong, and you've seen this 3 times, and you realize this person can't remember what they ordered by the time of dessert. And you learn so much by having the experiences, which has really helped me a lot. And so solo agers, they need to figure out where to live. They need to figure out how to get a support system. They may become part of a family of choice. And that's something I'm really working on understanding more now, is families of choice. And that's an interesting thing too about living in the Admiral. There are so many families of choice here. different patterns. And basically, that's a way that people take care of each other. For example, there's one group, I believe there were 6 people in the group, and this started during the pandemic. These 6 people were alone, and they decided we have a commitment to take care of each other. And you can, it's an interesting story. It's dramatic how it's played out, because one of the women died last year. She had had a partner previously here. Well, the remaining survivors out of the 6, they go to see that partner every day, just the same as when somebody went when she was alive. They take care of her. They have assumed responsibility. They've made sure that there's somebody handling her financial affairs and so on. And so you see what the benefits are of families of choice, and you see different ways that people have done it. But for solo agers, they have housing, support system issues. They may need to hire a professional to be their healthcare representative. They may need to hire a professional to be their financial representative. And the Society of Actuaries is about to come out with, there's a lot of publications from the Society of Actuaries. There's a high age decision guide. There's a guide to solo agers that is going to be coming out within the next probably 2 or 3 months. There are 11 decision briefs that are for people at or nearing retirement or during retirement. There's a lot of research on all these, and I've been involved in pretty much most of it.
Anna, I'm curious to know, in the Society of Actuaries, how many women are actuaries today? Not just a round number. It seemed to me that actuaries were mostly men.
I'm going to just trace the history of that a little bit. When I started out, there were very few women actuaries. I mean, we can, you could name them on 2 hands kind of thing. And I was one of the, I think 5 or 6 that have been president over the years. And I did something just recently to see how things had changed. I think it's probably a third or more or less of the total, but I checked the boards of the major actuarial organizations, and all of those boards and some other professional organizations had significant representation of women. Whereas it was that there might have been 1, 2, or 3 women on a board, and it was a big deal, it completely ceased being a big deal. So that's extremely gratifying to me.
So, Anna, when you and I talked earlier, I recall saying that you are working on a book, another book. Is that true?
Oh, I am. I'm working on a book, and I'm trying to get my art in a museum, which I have been told, you are nuts, but you check back with me in a year, and I'm going to say that I have a good chance of doing it, because I'm just optimistic. I'm trying to do a book to really tell the story about how I'm aging well, because so many people have said to me personally, you are an inspiration to me, and I feel like it's such an important story to share. And actually, pieces of it have been shared a lot already. I did a program called Reboot, Rewire, or Retire, which that lovely label was stolen from a friend of mine from the Chicago network, the women's group, but it's upheld very well. Well, I've done a lot of meetings around the Reboot, Rewire, Retire, and I wrote quite a long piece that was the story of my doing it. The Nerd's Eye View, that's the Nerd's Eye View, which is a very well-respected blog for financial planners and anybody. If you want to know about technical changes to the law or anything else, and you want the quick way to find out and pretty reliable resource, then I love the Nerd's Eye View. And I wrote for the Nerd's Eye View, this blog, and it got picked up a lot and built on a lot. So in a way, if you look at that article from April and the Nerd's Eye View blog, that's the kernel of the book. And the book is about expanding that. But so many people have said, you're an inspiration to me. And it's like, okay, I'm in favor of leverage. I need to take this stuff and multiply its impact. And I've been told by former undersecretaries of labor and treasury that the stuff we do is really good.
So, Anna, what is it that people see in you that they say you're such an inspiration? How are you a role model for them?
Well, you need to ask them, but what I think is that, one, I've mentored a lot of people, and they know that. I've been trying to sell my art for charity. I've been doing a lot of things that are designed to help others, and I've stayed active. And rather than kind of just going on cruises and having fun, I've said it's really important to have a purpose and to be contributing. One of the fights, there's several of my issues that I'm sort of involved in 20-year fights about. But people reach retirement age and they're capable of doing a lot and making big contributions. And age discrimination, unfortunately, is still alive and well. And I've been trying to fight this and to do what I can to encourage phased retirement. And I've written so much about that, but that's one of my big fights. Another one of my big issues is getting better opportunities for older women, which is a kind of subset of the first one. And another one that's been going on for years is doing better for disabled people. There are issues surrounding disabled benefits. There's just lots of issues, and disability from all sorts of aspects. When I was on the ERISA Advisory Council, ERISA is the federal pension and employee benefits law, and under Congress has established an advisory council to give major issue study, and then make recommendations. So then, we had a study about disability, and it was so interesting because here was somebody. I was involved in the employee benefits and concerned about the employee benefits provisions and the fact that the disability benefits that are embedded in defined benefit plans are basically lost when you go to defined contribution. And rather than encouraging that they be there, the law was actually making it more difficult to do that. That was one piece of it. Another piece of it was the concern about how claims were being actually handled in practice. And another piece of it was about partial disability. Well, all these things have some validity. And when you put them together, there are so many issues and there's so little awareness of disability. Well, right now I'm feeling like I have to use every minute because I have so much I wanted to accomplish and I don't know how many years I have to do it. So that's what I'm trying to do. And actually my project for today, which you might be interested in, is I have a really nice balcony. And I've decided to make a little farm on my balcony. I have lettuce and herbs and Swiss chard and kale.
Really?
And a beautiful flower garden, which we're just, we are in the process of assembling this, as that was the project before I got on the call.
That's great.
Are you leading the charge, Anna?
Am I in charge?
Are you leading the charge on that?
I am leading the charge. While we're on this call, 2 people are working on the project in my apartment. So I have my army of volunteers here.
I like the sound of a balcony in your unit.
A lot of balconies here.
Yeah.
But I have one of the best apartments. I have 2 balconies. The front balcony, the one that overlooks Foster Avenue. First of all, because I'm in the 2nd floor in the building I'm in, I feel like I live in a treehouse. I'm in the treetops on the 2nd floor. I overlook a beautiful garden and the street, so there's a lot going on. It's really fun. And that's where my vegetables are. And then on the other side of the building, on the east side, I overlooked the very tip end of Lincoln Park. And that's where mostly my flowers are.
That sounds
So anything else you would like to share with our audience, our listeners, especially about, I like the way you talked about the different phases of retirement, early retirement, middle retirement, been retired a long time. So anything else that you would want to?
Yeah,
talk
I
about?
would actually. When you're thinking about retirement and planning your life, this again is not a one and done thing at all. It's got to be kept up to date. And when you first retire, you're thinking about what can I do? How can I make my life valuable? What kind of purpose? Frequently, people get derailed and have to reprogram by caregiving. That's extremely common all the time. A big failure is the lack of having having a plan for the support that's needed by your parent, your aunt, whoever it is that you're going to be responsible for. Because what happens is that one day there's a disaster. There's a company by the name of CareRight that is doing things. There's several organizations that are certifying advisors to deal with this as well. That's another thing I've been working on. But that's the first phase is you're recently retired and basically you don't have limitations. The high age decision guide deals with these different phases. Then the second phase, you have moderate limitations, and you need to be working with those limitations as well as building the platform for a lot of limitations. And then you have a lot of limitations. And I would say that's a really important thing. It's a really important thing that you have people in place to help you, and you appoint powers of attorney or advocates as you need them. But there's a big mistake that people make, and I very much push for. There's several big mistakes. Instructions, and you don't tell them what kind of plants you want. If you want to say plant my garden and I want to grow this kind of spinach and these kind of tomatoes, that's instructions. So people really need to understand no one is going to represent you the way you want. They're not mind readers. So that I would say that's a critical thing. Failure to anticipate in things like choosing senior housing or a community, a life care community like the one I'm in here. You want to make those choices early enough and get on waiting lists, because the demographics are such that the places are going to be full, and some of them have pretty long waiting lists. They have pretty long waiting lists here. If you wait till that, okay, I think I'm ready now, you may go there and say, oh, this would be great. I'd love to be here. Oh, well, there's a 5-year waiting list. So you want to plan ahead for that. You want to plan comprehensively and think about it. And I would say those are a few of the pitfalls. And another pitfall that we found is a lot of very older people, particularly with dementia, they forget to file their tax returns, or they lose interest in filing them. But be aware that it's really important to check up. Did you file your tax returns? Did you keep the information you need so that you could have them prepared? If you can't do it yourself, did you get somebody to do it? Yes, it sounds so stupid. I'll tell you just one simple story. In the groups I worked with last year, a woman whose husband had died several years ago, she knew she needed to update her stuff, but she hadn't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, we know other stories like that as well. Anna, thank you so much for talking with us today. This has been extremely helpful, enlightening. Look forward to learning more about the Admiral at the lake and the other remarkable women who live there. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna. And listeners, we'd like to see more of you at our monthly online programs. Make your voice heard. as together we change the conversation about women aging. Visit Aging Reimagined Circle at womenover70.com. And thanks to our sponsor, Production Plus, which is an expert in crafting visuals that not only attract attention, but also elevate every moment. Visit productionplus.com. Thank you.